It's September of 2020, and over the lockdown period up to this point, I'd absolutely been hyping myself up about how I would want others to perceive me when I started high school that year. The previous years of my schooling up to this point, I had been more of what you would consider the sort of weird, shy, and awkward type of kid. I got made fun of a lot for having different interests than pretty much all of my other peers. I couldn't relate to anyone, and I would end up reverting to hanging out with the other weird kids who I couldn't even relate to either. I did have a little community of kids online who were into the same thing I was at the time, which was marker flipping. So it wasn't that I felt so isolated as I did unconfident in real life. When I started high school, I hadn't made many mental or physical changes since middle school. Maybe I went outside more, moved around, but that was about the extent of it. And during this time period, I would sort of romanticize and fantasize about how real life would be once I was back at school again. I would think to myself, oh, it's gonna be a lot better now. People are gonna like me so much more. I've been practicing basketball, I've been getting better at it. I listen to cool music now. I thought I was gonna be one of the most outgoing in class. I was gonna speak the most. I was gonna be the most confident, and everybody would like me. But when I stepped into a classroom for the first time in 6 months during the health crisis, it was the exact opposite. I walk into class for the first time freshman year, and I'm some of the most socially anxious and nervous that I've ever been in my entire life up to that point. Now keep in mind, during the lockdown, I had maybe 1 or 2 close friends outside of my tight-knit marker flipping community that I kept in contact with throughout that time. Now, because of this lack of social interaction with other people, I did not know how to confidently assert myself or even socialize that well with others. The first thing one of my classmates said to me on the first day was that he knew I would be tall off of what he saw on the Zoom camera, and my response to this was simply an awkward laugh. As the year progressed, I saw groups of friends forming, people becoming more closer together, making connections, and I was over here trying to muster up the energy to become more like them. But the thing was, my energy wasn't meant to be put in that type of place. I did have a few people who I liked being around and enjoyed talking to, but it didn't go much further than that. That summer going into sophomore year, I decided to focus heavily on bettering myself, working towards my black belt in martial arts, fixing up my appearance a little bit, getting stronger, faster, better. Started sophomore year out doing 2 very physically demanding sports, and I thought that through this, all my problems would be solved. I'd have a higher level of confidence, therefore I'd be more extroverted, and I'd make more friends. But instead I became more focused when it came to pretty much everything goals. Schoolwork, building myself up, achieving that black belt. Trying to socialize more or being someone I wasn't something I had the time or energy to really prioritize anymore. And with the results that I was able to see for myself within that time span, with the newfound strength, skills, and knowledge that I had built for myself, I no longer saw trying to be more extroverted as the thing I personally needed to improve on the most. If I'd been able to fit in from the start, if I'd been naturally more extroverted and had everyone you could think of wanting to be around me, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have gone on to work harder than almost everyone else, fallen off, learned from my mistake, worked my way out of that hole, and then 2 years later gotten out of it to the point where I am today. I wouldn't have taken the time to redirect and find strong purpose of myself, because I'd be too afraid of what other people would think of me, if they would think poorly of me, or if I'd lose friends. Now, I'm not saying that being extroverted is inherently a bad thing, but if you truly want to find yourself, if you want to grow closer to your authentic self and do more meaningful work, being more introverted can help you bring that connection together. When you're distracted by loads of friends, parties, trying to fit in with everybody else, you will more likely not get distracted by those things, which will therefore distract you from fulfilling your purpose. But if you live a life focused towards your goals, embracing those introverted qualities about yourself rather than suppressing them, you will find way more fulfillment in that than living life full of noise and nonsense from others while staying complacent yourself. I personally got pretty much no fulfillment out of trying to fit in with other people throughout high school. It never really led to anything beneficial for me. By truly embracing who I was, by truly embracing my introverted nature, I was able to pretty much almost completely turn things around within the span of 6 months for myself. Now, like I say a lot, but it's true, I'm arguably more happier and fulfilled than I've ever been. And that is because I've learned how much of a gift it has truly been for me thus far to have been the way I've been, and to be granted the opportunity and gift to be introverted. I hope this message helped you today, my friend. Keep putting in that work towards becoming at least 1% better each and every day. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.